Hey guys, and welcome back. It's Meat Department here, and today we're going to be discussing all the upcoming ARMS Warrior talent changes in the upcoming 10.05 patch, as well as Ignore Pain specifically and how it actually functions. So I'm on the PTR right now, guys, testing out Ignore Pain and taking a look at all of the talent builds so you don't have to, and so you really know what's coming up. So here they are on the screen now. Just popped them up, and there are some changes here you will notice if you currently play ARMS Warrior, guys. And what I'm going to do is just explain what all the differences and upcoming changes are. Then we're going to dive really deep into Ignore Pain and how it functions, guys, because as you know, ARMS Warrior does decent damage right now, but the survivability is subpar. You feel like you die in thin air sometimes, but Ignore Pain is part of that solution. It's going to help us live a little bit longer, be more aggressive, and a little bit more relief on our healers so we can focus on doing what we need to do with the damage and the support in general when it comes to arenas, guys. So let's jump right in here and check out the left-hand side first. So you'll notice we still have the defensive stance talent point up there, but if you look closely, it says this talent is granted to your specialization for free and can't be unlearned. That means we basically get an extra talent point on the left-hand side, guys. So you no longer have to spend a point on this. It just comes with the spec, which is awesome. Which means you can now go ahead and basically fill another talent point wherever you want. I have another one into Piercing Verdict for Spear of Bastion, but you could go ahead and put it into Piercing Howl, which is a great one, or just mix these up any which way you want. You have an extra talent point, so that in itself for warriors, pretty darn good right there. But now moving over to the arms, guys, this is where big changes are actually in store. So there's a lot going on here, guys, and as you see, my current build I'm messing with actually lets me get Fatality, Blade Storm, Executioner's Precision. I have Rend with Skull Splitter and Tide of Blood, guys, so that it basically uses my bleed and, yeah, consumes it instantly, guys. But there's some things you also need to know. Ignore Pain is right here. So now there's a choice in this slot. It used to just be Storm Wall, but now you have to choose either Storm Wall or Ignore Pain, and it's a no-brainer, guys. We're going to pick Ignore Pain. So for 40 Rage, it's an instant cast. That's 11-second cooldown, and it basically lets us ignore 50% incoming damage up to 41,000, or that's modified really by what your strength is. So if you have some procs from the Sapphic Devotion or your trinkets or anything that adds strength, that's going to go up into the 50,000s, close to 60,000, if not more, guys. And yeah, that's a lot of damage to help avoid. Now that is absolutely great. Another thing you will notice is Valor and Victory is only 1 rank now instead of 2. It increases our versatility by 1% and reduces the cooldown of our Die by the Sword by 30 seconds. So this is one we'll mostly always be taking, guys. But looking over here, things have changed. So Sweeping Strikes is actually now baked into the arm spec by default. So Sweeping Strikes gives us for 21 seconds with this talent point. This talent point adds 6 seconds to it. So it's a 30-second cooldown, and for 21 seconds, we're going to be able to hit one additional target within 8 yards for 75% of the damage, guys. So you nearly have, what, a 66% uptime on this if you non-stop click it. It costs no rage, and it's going to be up for 42 seconds out of every minute, guys. You could pretty much cleave all day. Arms is definitely going to be awesome with Sweeping Strikes being that high, guys. But another thing I do want to note here is right here in this slot, this is what Massacre is now. This used to be Improved Mortal Strike, which added 5% damage to Mortal Strike. So that's been removed because, honestly, Mortal Strike is like our main rage spender ability anyways. So what they did was remove that useless talent point that everyone's going to take, and they just buffed Mortal Strike by 5% damage right to start. At least that's what the plans are. So you no longer have to just click it to add damage to it. It's just going to have that damage in the first place. So you definitely have a lot of talent points available to you. Right now I'm messing with Fatality, like I said, but you could go Blade Storm into Unhinged if you like. You could even go Juggernaut if you really want to try to stack up the execute damage. All kinds of possibilities, but I thought it would be fun to actually mix in some bleed action going on. Now I could have also taken Bloodborne and took, you know, talent points out of Fatality. There's a lot of options here, guys, but that's just really the big scoop, is you're going to have more flexibility on the arms point to really pump in more DPS, with Sweeping Strikes now being baseline, Defensive Stance baseline, and Ignore Pain added to the arsenal. So how does it work, guys? Well, let's go ahead and take a look here. So I have Ignore Pain right here. I also have a weak aura, guys, which I will put in the description below. It's basically right here. it's gonna load up an ignore pain tracker, and I will copy that import string for you to bring into your weak auras. So you're gonna see how it looks right here if I charge and just go ahead and start doing some damage here. My ignore pain is gonna light up for me to click, and here's the tracker. I put it right next to my character. It says I have 53,000.2k of ignore pain damage that I can go ahead and absorb. Now the thing you want to pay attention to here is you can actually refresh it just before it ends, and it stacks up twice, guys. So now I'm basically absorbing 110 of the damage that incomes, and you'll see the countdown right here. It is now off cooldown. If I click it real quick, it refreshes it again. So when you apply ignore pain, guys, it actually lasts for 12 seconds if you look up at the top buff bar, but it's only an 11-second cooldown. So watch this now. It's now able for me to click, and I refreshed it right there like that. So you could actually stack it twice if you have the rage to do so, and that is actually a very helpful thing. So something else I like about this training area, guys, is there's this big guy over here, Boulder Fist. So we can go ahead and attack him right now, and you're going to see the little ignore pain tracker go down, and I have 2 seconds left before I can click it again to refresh it, and there you go. In battle, I just refreshed it and added a little bit more to it, so we're definitely being able to survive a lot because he does hit. Now my bubble's almost complete, but that's okay. So now I need to click it again real quick to absorb some more damage because he took all of it away. Now I want to get away before he actually kills me there. Wow, and that was a close one, guys. But if we look at the combat log, it is actually behind me here. Let me go ahead and undock the window and bring it right up here in the middle of the screen for you. So here we go right here. We're going to see what happened to me. Now, you'll look at what Boulder Fist did. Basically, the equivalent damage that he did to me was also absorbed by Ignore Pain, as long as Ignore Pain had that much damage it could absorb. So that's what all these absorbs are. Until we got into the end, where he did so much damage as a crit, I only had 674 left, and that's where he did actual damage to me before I could click Ignore Pain once again. So that's how it works. It's going to basically negate half of the damage that comes to you as long as you have it. So it's very awesome because you can go ahead and pop that tracker up so you're always aware of how much damage you could actually soak, and it's going to slow down you getting pummeled by everybody, man. How many times have you been in arena or solo shuffle and they're like, oh look, it's an arms warrior, and focus goes to you and makes life hard, right? You either have to sit there and rely on your healer, or you got to play ultra defensively, which then means you're not pumping out the damage. And that's part of the problem right there with the arms warrior, is we do awesome damage. However, when we're focused hard and all that, we didn't have much survivability outside of, you know, die by the sword, and that was only so good to begin with. And defensive stance is okay. It does actually negate some damage, and right now it is we take 10% less damage and do 15% less damage. So it's kind of cool. It kind of helps a little bit, but that's not everything we needed. Ignore Pain is definitely huge. You're going to be able to be a lot more aggressive out in the arenas with this stuff, guys, and you're going to be able to survive a lot longer with that. So I do like it, and I do love that you could actually double click spam it and stack it up twice to actually get like 110 plus 1,000 absorb shield, guys. So Ignore Pain is a huge thing coming in 10.05, hopefully over the next week, and you'll be able to see the difference in your survivability, hopefully along with the new talent points, being able to actually place them into more critical things to do actual damage. Sweeping strikes being baseline is definitely sweet, and being able to actually utilize some more of the bleeds for, you know, pressure across the board. All of these things are going to make Arms Warrior more of a threat, guys. So I wanted to share this with you, explain to you how Ignore Pain worked, and a little bit of the talent. So I hope you found this helpful, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.